Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the last lesson of non-fictional prose, because next lesson or next lecture I'll be talking about the final exam, inshallah. Today we are going to continue Unit 6, Part 2, and Unit 6 is going to be the last unit that we are going to take. So we are going to cover units 1 up to 6. So we have 6 units in the final exam, and I'll be talking about what is included and what's not included next lesson, inshallah. So let's focus on our lesson today, page 139. But before page 139, there is one page on 138, buying on the internet. People love to shop, and more of them are shopping on the internet. Some are pleased with the variety of goods offered and the ease of shopping in the comfort of their own homes, yet some are worried about the quality of goods they will receive or the safety of their credit card numbers. So buying on the internet. Have you ever shopped on the internet? Well, I myself enjoy very much buying on the internet, and I had a lot of experiences buying online through different websites, buying different things, and I think I had very positive experiences buying online. I had a couple of times where I had some problems, but they were solved then. I don't know about you. Try to think about your experience shopping online, and if not, why not you start thinking about shopping online? Well, there are some advantages and disadvantages of this. Advantages, well, it's very convenient, very easy. You are sitting in your home, probably sitting on your couch, you're sitting on your bed with your laptop or with your touch screen computers, just browsing things, browsing catalogs, browsing websites, finding things that are not available in your city or in your shopping malls. And you can see different things, buy different things. Disadvantages, well, you don't know about the quality of the things that you are buying. You are not seeing the things that you are buying. Sometimes measurements problems. Probably you buy something too short or too long, too wide. Sometimes you are not sure about the safety of this website, safety about your credit card, the seller credibility, whether this seller is good or not good. Is he credible? Is he a true seller or is he fake? So there are some problems, but you can start. You can start with some websites, very well-known websites, so you can feel the experience. I'm not giving you advice, but this is just to get you into the mood of the importance of technology in our life. Many countries, many people are shifting from the normal, ordinary way of buying things into online shopping. Here are some questions here. Have you ever shopped on the internet? Do you prefer to shop online, use a catalog, or go to a store in person? Well, some people like to go to a store in person. Why? Because they don't feel content. They don't feel happy unless they see the thing that they want to buy. unless they try it on, unless they bargain on it, try to get a discount. I know many people like this. Some consumers think it's not safe to shop on the internet. Do you agree or not? What precautions would you take before completing a transaction on the internet? Well, for me, I would not put a transaction until I know that the seller is authentic, credible. Many other consumers or customers have bought previously from him. Well, I check the website, so I know that my credit card will not be misused or stolen. These are the main precautions that I use before buying online. Have you ever heard of identity theft? Yes, identity theft is when someone is trying to become you. He steals your name, he steals your credit card, your information, and then go to other websites, trying to buy things or trying to talk or speak in your name. This is identity theft, when someone is trying to become you, to steal your identity, steal your name, your information, and then go to other websites, go to other people and speak in your name. What is it? Do you think it could happen if you buy products on the internet? Yes. If a hacker steals your credit card, well, this is going to be a problem. Imagine that you are buying something and a hacker stole your credit card. Identity theft will happen. So this is just a very good topic. I like it, and I think it's related to our life these days, so I wanted to introduce it to you. The second part of chapter 6 is the luncheon, and we always start with defining the title of the passage or the topic. The luncheon, what does it mean? It's taken from the word lunch. So luncheon is a lunch. Sometimes if you have a formal lunch, you are inviting your boss, your colleagues in a formal lunch or in a formal place. It is called the luncheon. The luncheon that we are going to read is a short story. Well, I remember that in the beginning of this course, I told you that we are going to study English texts that are not related to literature. But I found this short story very interesting, and just to give you a try on reading short stories before you take the short story course in the next semesters. As I said, I decided to include this short story because it's fun, interesting, and to prepare you very well for next courses, inshallah. Strategy. Identifying the settings, characters, and conflict in a narrative text. Reading a story is easier if you first identify the key elements that every story must have. These are called the narratives elements. So we have 3 main elements, and probably you are taking a literature course these days, and maybe you know better than me because my specialization is not literature. I am a linguist. So we have the setting, the characters, and the plot. The setting is the time and place of the story. Characters, the people who are acting in the story. The plot. The plot is the main conflict of the story. Let's imagine that we are going to read a story that someone is trying to murder someone, is trying to kill someone. And this bad person is trying to think of different ways of killing this person by following him to his home and then entering the home, trying to kill that person. All of these conflicts is called the plot. So every story has a plot. Whereas there is a conflict between the characters, there is a problem between two or more characters in the story, is called the plot. The better the plot, the better the story. If you have a very good plot, you are going to enjoy the story. You are going to have an interesting story. So the plot is the action that starts with a conflict, develops into a complication, and ends with a resolution or a solution of that plot. So the story starts like this, with a plot, until it reaches what is called a climax. A climax is the highest point of the conflict or the problem between the characters, and then you will find it descending to a solution, and then the story should end with a solution of the problem. So here we have some questions about the short story, trying to identify the setting, characters, and conflict. So the first question is, when does the story take place, more or less, and where? So if we go to the story and read just the first few paragraphs, here it is. I caught sight of her at the park, and in answer to her beckoning, I went over and sat down beside her. It was long since I had last seen her, and if someone had not mentioned her name, I hardly think I would have recognized her. She addressed me brightly. Well, it's many years since we last met. How time does fly. We are none of us getting any younger. Do you remember the last time I saw you? You asked me to luncheon. Did I remember? It was 20 years ago, and I was living in Paris. So this is the answer. 20 years ago is the time, and living in Paris is the place or the whereabout of this story. So the story is was taking place in Paris 20 years ago. If we read the just very few paragraphs, we sense the beauty of the language. There are some phrases, some sentences in the English language that are very beautiful. The more you read, the more you start to sense the beauty of the language. Let's, for example, read the first. I caught sight of her. Instead of saying I saw her, I caught sight of her. It means I suddenly saw her. So you see the beauty of this sentence. I caught sight of her at the park, and in answer to her beckoning, I went over and sat down beside her. It was long since I had last seen her, and if someone had not mentioned her name, I hardly think I would have recognized her. She addressed me brightly. Well, it's many years since we last met. How time does fly. So we see how time does fly. You usually hear people saying time flies so quickly, time flies so fast. But you see this phrase, how time does fly. Very beautiful language. We are none of us getting any younger. You see, very beautiful sentence. We are none of us getting any younger. Instead of saying we did not get any younger, we are none of us getting any younger. Do you remember the last time I saw you? You asked me to luncheon. did I remember? It was 20 years ago, and I was living in Paris. I had a tiny apartment in the Latin Quarter, and I was earning barely enough money to keep body and soul together. So you see, to keep body and soul together. Very beautiful language. It means that I barely found money to live, to continue living. If you keep body and soul together, means you are surviving, you are trying to live. So you see, this short story, very enjoyable in reading, very interesting. I found it a very good way to warm you up for the next literature courses. I want you to read the rest of story, enjoying reading the story. And there is one very important strategy also we can identify here, which is anticipating the next events, what's going to happen next. If you are reading a story or watching a movie, you always try to anticipate, well, I think this will do blah blah blah. Well, no, this will do blah 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 blah. These anticipations makes you excited, make you interested in the story. So you start to interact with the writer, with the characters, with the story itself. So you get in the mood of the story, and this is very important. If you identify the setting, characters, and the plot, then you start to anticipate the next events. You will find yourself that you are enjoying the story, interacting with the story, interacting with the characters. The story will end, and you will find yourself that you benefited from the story, you enjoyed it, and this is the main thing that we want to do from reading. Well, so we identify the place, the characters. There are too many characters, but there are two main characters here. We have the narrator, the writer, the person who is saying I. This is the first main character. And there is the woman who we never been told her name. So we have the woman and the person who is sitting beside her. And there are other characters. You can identify these other characters the more you read in the story. We have the plot. I'll leave the plot to you. You will find it very easy. Who are the main characters? Number 2, characters, and about the woman. We can identify this after we read. Number 3, we cannot identify in advance the whole plot, but we can find out where it begins. The action always starts with a conflict, a problem, or difficulty, because if everything were fine, there would be no story. Yes, if we just writing a story, well, I met my father, and then he sat for a cup of coffee, he was watching TV, he was reading the newspaper, and the end of the story. Well, this is not a story because it has no plot, no conflict, no difficulty, no solution at the end. Well, so every story should have a plot. It says read quickly up to line 22 and find the conflict. Explain it here. So if you read until here, 22, you will find here 22, 20, 21, 21. You will find just where the plot begins. Well, now getting the meaning of words from context, we have the word, I was flattered by her praise of my book. If you are flattered, it means you are pleased by the kind words. If someone's saying, well, you are a very good person, you are a courageous person, you are a very gorgeous person, you are a generous person, you will say thank you. I am flattered by these kind words. It means I am pleased, I am happy about what you are saying. I was startled when the bill of fare was brought, for the prices were a great deal higher than I had anticipated. Startled, it means scared by a sudden surprise. Startled means sudden surprise. I'm very surprised. Startled, something like you are not believing what you are seeing. This is the meaning of startled. It would be mortifying to find myself 10 francs short and be obliged to borrow from my guest. Well, it is, yes, mortifying. It means very embarrassing. Imagine that you are inviting someone to lunch or to a dinner, and then you find your pocket is short of money. The bill is 350 and you only have 300 riyals. So it is mortifying or embarrassing to borrow money from your guest. They were enormous, succulent, and appetizing. So from the context, enormous, appetizing. Appetizing means very delicious. You want to eat it very badly. This is the meaning of appetizing. So is it too ripe? It means the vegetables or fruits is too ripe. It means that it is going to ruin after a while. Dry or juicy. So the answer is juicy. Succulent means very juicy, very full of juices. I knew a little later for my guest going on with her conversation, absent-mindedly took one. Absent-mindedly. Let's break it down. We have the word absent-mindedly. So if you are absent-minded, it means you are not aware, you are not feeling yourself. So it's not with any intention, it's without any thinking. So it is B, without any thinking. Absent-mindedly, you are not aware about what you are doing. The bill came, and when I paid it, I found that I had only enough for a quite inadequate tip. Adequate means very precise. If we add the prefix in, inadequate, it means it's not exact, it's not generous enough. So inadequate tip, it means generous. But inadequate in this context means generous, because, as I said, adequate means exact, inadequate means not exact. And again, I'm telling you that, well, I don't want to call them problems, but there are some characteristics or remarks about this book, that there are some exercises with some peculiar, with some special answers, and we need to accept these answers as they are. But as I said, inadequate does not mean, or does not always mean generous. It means not exact. Well, the last thing here is the writer of the short story, a well-known, very famous short story writer. His name is William Somerset Maugham, and you can ask your literature professor, Dr. Naimi, about him. He will tell you more about him better than me. So the strategy here, as I said, predicting events in a narrative, anticipating what's going to happen next, and as I told you, this is a very good way in reading short story. So we'll see here, after each paragraph, there are some questions to help you anticipating and predicting. What did the man notice about his cousin's appearance? Does it perhaps give a clue to her character? And so on. After each paragraph you will find these questions. Well, this is it for this course. We had 6 units. We ended up with a very nice short story, and I hope you will like it. I wish you all the best in the final exam. In the final lecture, you're going to know more about the final exam. Study hard, and you will get an A. And don't forget Orwell that we studied it in the first lesson. Orwell, overview the book. Ask these questions that will help you to anticipate what you are going to read. Read very well, write, evaluate yourself, test, and get A. And I hope all of you is going to have a very good mark, inshallah. Thank you very much for attending this course, and all the best.